like that's all. But yeah, yeah. So it's really funny because on our podcast when we first started it, like all this COVID stuff hadn't happened, and then like as we get closer and closer to March 15th, like we're like we don't know what's going on, and so we're kind of talking about the present and also going through the story at the same time of the past.
Interesting little time capsule.
Yeah.
It is interesting. This is, I mean, you're joking about being on the couch, but like we're all on the couch.
Yeah.
That is the state of the world right now. Is we're all on the couch in our mom's basement, not doing shit.
Yeah.
No, but you know, I mentioned this on the podcast. I'm getting a new job somewhere. I haven't even started interviewing yet.
I haven't even in your resume yet.
Yeah, got a little bit of work to do there, but you know, I'm going to pay a lot more attention to work-life balance because I feel like that's probably one of the main reasons I felt unfulfilled at my well-paying, air-conditioned inside job in front of a computer.
Right.
Which I appreciate so much more now. But
yeah, somebody else has to worry about the numbers, and you just clock in and out. Go home.
Yeah, it's way better. Yeah, it's way better than worrying about everything all at once.
Everything has a tax on it, apparently. And they'll send you angry letters introducing the tax to you.
Because it's still like, you know, you don't know how much, we don't know how much to pay in income tax, right? Well, they don't tell the businesses how much to pay either. You just have to figure that out and hope you're right.
Yeah, apparently a business degree would have been a good idea to have before starting a brewery.
Evidently.
Well, I mean, you never knew that you were actually going to start a brewery either. So, I mean, there's always that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, when you guys did announce everything was going on, who reached out to try to help, if anybody? And did anybody reach out to you, like one of the local breweries, to get on board with them?
Well, I mean, the way we kind of got started professionally was we were home brewing for a few years, and I had started a blog called Main Brewing. It was just basically, it was what we used to chronicle our home brewing, but then we also started going to events, and then we started interviewing other brewers. And the more we talked to folks, the more we realized at the beginning of their stories sounded like where we were. And the main people there were Wade and Sean at Division Brewing, Greg and Kurt at Legal Draft, Shannon Carter, and then Jeremy up at 903.
And Derek.
And, of course, Derek from Dirty Job down in Mansfield. So, really, I mean...
Some people reached out and, like, they want to do collaborations with us and everything now that we're closed and, like, released it, like a collab.
Which I imagine those plans will be somewhat...
people reached out, but not to like, hey, let's help you stay open. They more reached out like, hey, let's release your beer so you can get some money back. and
that's something.
Help out with that. Yeah. And then the town called us a bunch of times. The city manager called us, or the economic development lady with the town of Pantego. She was trying to help us find a new space, and we were like, thank you, but we're not trying to go to a new space. And DWG, the mayor over there, was like, we'll take you, come on over here. And even the town was like, well, what if we bought the building? And we were like, no. Like, that's...
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of people tried to reach out, but we had already, made the decision. That's why we announced the decision. Like, we didn't announce so you could try and change our mind or help us, or it's like too late for that kind of thing,
Yeah.
Well, also you have to consider, like David was just talking about work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Consider the fact that you guys didn't come to this decision lightly, and you already made the decision for whatever personal and public and private reasons there are.
Right.
And if you're ready to step back from that, which I understand, because God, what a lot of responsibility. Yeah. I would not. Yeah. I know I would be a terrible business owner.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. And, intellectually at the beginning of it, you think through the pros and cons, and like, yeah, pros, like, well, what if our business does really well and we end up making a bunch of money and we really like what we're doing? And the cons, like, oh, well, what if business doesn't go well and we lose all our money and then we end up closing? You need to really spend some time thinking about the negative side of that and what that actually looks like.
Because all the books you'll read are all about, like, go for it, live your dream, and all this, and take chances, and and then you do it, and you're like, oh, whoops. You went a little overzealous with the entrepreneurship there.
Yeah, but even then, like, if someone was doing all the right things 100% of the time, and then something like COVID-19 happens, like, there are so many reasons for a business to fail.
And outside forces a lot of the time. Because working hard was never the problem.
Yeah, working hard is required, and you have to be comfortable with that being a part of your life. But then, you're never really off the clock. There'd be middle of the night calls, and the alarm would go off, or I'd have to go turn on the burners for the next brew day. It's just like, yeah, you can only work a certain number of hours, but you're always on call, especially when it's yours.
So that kind of leads me to a question. What would be your recommendation for somebody trying to start a business? Like, what are the 2 or 3 top things that you would recommend that they really look at and really explore before they sign those papers?
I would say be fully funded and be twice over funded before you ever sign anything or find a location on anything. You just need to be already good to go on the money side.
Yeah, that was one of our major blunders, is we didn't have all the funding we wanted before we got into our space. Right. And so it put us in positions to make, kind of dumb decisions. Sometimes. The second one I would say is, if you're opening a similar business to somebody else, go way outside of your market and talk to those similar businesses and get a realistic expectation for what it looks like to work there day in and day out. Like, go talk to other similar business owners if they're willing to talk to you, and get a very full and honest preview of what your life is about to look like. And if that's all for you, then awesome, go ahead, get started. But if you like your vacations, or if you need time off frequently, or if there's just some extenuating circumstance where you can't be available all the time, consider very strongly who's going to run which part of your business, and set that up from the beginning.
Yeah, and I would say the third one would be have a really strong team before you start, and know how many people you need before you start.
So obviously the people were wondering how much beer is left and how can they get it?
Yes. We do have, not a giant amount of beer, but we have quite a bit of Pantego Porter, ESB, Saison.
A lot of the lighter beers were the ones that we had left over.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're all out of Tipatex.
Yeah.
Damn.
But if you have a kegerator or know someone that has a kegerator, we'll sell them a keg.
Yeah, absolutely. We put them in storage so we can get them out of the building, but so they're safe and just ready to be iced down and served.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Cool.
Summertime is coming up, and hopefully this whole quarantine will stop. So
honestly, that's what we should do. The minute they lift this, we should just have like giant keg parties, like everywhere.
Yes.
Giant neighborhood block parties.
Yeah.
And 3 feet apart instead of 6.
That's right.
Like a bunch of rebels.
Flatten the curve.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us about this. I really, again, appreciate your transparency in this. Everybody was a little bit surprised and shocked and disappointed, but we also understand. And you're always going to be an important part of our community and the community in general. And like you said, the memories that we've made there have been incredible, and we will always have those. And God damn it, when you want to brew beer again, you let us know, and we're gonna do it.
I think after the dust settles, we're gonna get back to home brewing. That's the work-life balance. I'd never lost the love for brewing, so as soon as the garage is cleared out, we'll fire up the kettles and we'll brew again.
Yeah.
All Very nice.
Awesome.
So people want to listen to the podcast and email you guys questions and then just see what you guys are up to. How can they do so?
We are on Facebook and Instagram at EntrepreNOPE, EntrepreNOPE.
Yeah.
We're also at entrepreneup@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, we're on several different podcast platforms.
Like all the podcast platforms.
We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor,
Google Podcast,
Breaker, a bunch of other words.
I said, yeah, we're on ones I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that too. We're on Blanket. I've never even heard of that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Listen, we've got about 9 or 10 episodes out right now. We've got a couple fun ones we're going to record this weekend and this coming week. And, share with your friends, share with anyone that is trying to start a business, or
especially a brewery.
And we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys.
All right. Thank you so much for having us.
No problem.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Next stop on the Tournament of Toppings, we went to Saljo's in Pantego, which was always on our list, but highly recommended by several of our guests, particularly people that are native to Pantego. I would say that we enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, we did. I actually don't think, was it on our list? I think we bumped Black Dog Arcade off.
Yeah, no,
right. Yeah.
No offense to Black Dog. We will come visit you and hopefully check out an improv show next door, but we wanted to go check out Saljo's because highly recommended by multiple people.
It was, and it wasn't on our list. We had nothing in Pantego, and I feel, Pantego's like our little brother. We got to look out for him every once in a while. Tussle his hair.
And man, was I surprised by this place.
Yeah,
yes,
it was.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. It was exceptionally large inside. There weren't many people there when we went.
No, we went on like a Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, but it was like as all this kind of started happening too. So I think some of that had to do with it because I've seen that place packed with cars. So like I know that it's people love it, but I do think there wasn't that many people there because of that.
And there was a theme to the decor. It was very American veteran themed.
And like, as we found out later when we talked to the owner, like that, most of that stuff was donated. It wasn't even like anything that they particularly like. They said they started off with like one piece, and then people were like, "Hey, can I come donate this thing of my grandfather's or my dad's or my brother or whatever?" And it just kind of grew from there. It's kind of like a pizza place that has a memorial to service members,
right? And it has a nice little actual bar to it. It looked like a saloon type bar as well.
Yeah, it really did kind of.
I felt like if I was, fighting in the Civil War or the Revolutionary War, I could just walk in there, grab a beer, and it'd be good.
A couple whiskeys.
Yeah.
The character of that place was definitely much appreciated. I thought it was really, really cool. And it's unfortunate that no one can really go in there, I guess. Right. But when this is done, go in there because it's really cool inside. So I think for experience, we gave it a 5, right?
Right. For experience, we gave it a 5. We had a really good time. The pizzas that we ordered several different pizzas. I remember one being the Saljo's traditional or something like that. It didn't have a sauce. I remember it was like an olive oil.
Oh, right.
base.
Olive oil.
What did it have on it? It had spinach.
Feta.
Feta, yeah, it had feta on it.
Mushrooms as well.
Olives.
Yeah, olives.
Peppers. My wife is shouting this from the other room. Olives, peppers.
But it was good considering it wasn't like a traditional marinara sauce base with mozzarella cheese. It was really delicious. And I do remember we ordered some bread, some garlic knots, and those were really good.
Yeah, they were so good. And they gave us free bread.
Oh, they did? Yeah.
And the bread was good.
Mm-hmm.
I also got a cheese, obviously. Come on, who am I? I'm the guy that gets cheese. And I think for crust, it was good, but it wasn't anything like it wasn't bad.